Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 36. In this episode, I speak with Kiola Raines. Kiola is a very positive person who I met through social media, and this was actually our first real-time conversation, and it was an amazing conversation. She knows so much about so many different things, very positive person, knows a ton about nutrition, exercise, the human body, taking care of yourself, self-improvement, so we had a great conversation. And the book of the episode is going to be The Female Brain by Luann Brizendine, MD. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. This book's the book of the episode because it came up in conversation. There's also another book called The Male Brain that I haven't read, but it's an interesting book to read, especially for males, to get a better understanding of how women are wired, how they think, why they may think certain ways about certain things, and just to broaden your perspectives. I'll have to read The Male Brain as well. But again, the book of the episode is The Female Brain by Luann Brizendine, MD. And without further ado, here's my conversation with Kiola. Kiola Raines, welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast.
Thank you. Happy Monday.
Yeah, it is Monday, isn't it? And this is social media. Well, this is kind of social media still, but this is, I would feel, the next layer beyond social media on a Zoom call.
Yeah, it is.
We've always interacted through Instagram, and now we're taking it to the next level with the podcast.
Yes. I love, and you know what? There's another level that's kind of new, which is Clubhouse, which is kind of like a live podcast. I don't know if you've been on Clubhouse or not, but
I know of it.
No
I've listened
video.
to a couple. How is it? What's your experience been with that?
Oh, I freaking love it. I love it. When I found Clubhouse in 2020? Yeah, December 2020. No, December 2021, I guess, last year. I don't know, whenever. I stopped using Instagram almost fully for like 3-4 months. I was like, oh, I don't even need Instagram at all. I can just talk to people all day. This is awesome. And unlike Zoom, it's completely audio only. So there is no video component to it. So that's another layer. Like, I was a new mom at the time. So yeah, it was December 2020. And I was like, this is great. I can talk to adults. I'm home all day with my baby. And it doesn't matter if my hair is not done because it's just my voice. So I absolutely love it. But yeah, this is definitely, if you met someone on Instagram, taking it to Zoom is like, okay, we're going to be in real time. Like, we've messaged each other there. You actually wrote me a letter, which, oh my God, I was telling my husband about that. He's like, who, it's again, like, okay, who's this person? What's it all about? He's heard me on podcasts before. And I was like, I don't know, but I know this guy's into like communicating because he did this thing where if you sent him your address, he would write you a letter. Like, it was 1995 or something, like letters. Who writes letters anymore? And so, yeah, it's awesome. So we've been in communication, which is so cool. Like, and the other thing I will say, like, it hasn't ever been like you like hit on me or I was hitting on you or there was, it was just like, we're just two cool people who were like, yo, I hope the best for you. Like, you're cool. I'll support what you're doing, so yeah, this is awesome.
Well, and that's it's funny you bring that up too, because I've noticed it's crazy, like through Instagram, how you're able to feel people's energy in a way.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like you wouldn't think so with digital, but it's like, oh no, this person, like, good vibes, good messaging into a lot of this too. And like that's the one good thing. I have to be careful because I've realized on this podcast in particular, like, I've bashed social media left and right. But I realize at the same time, though, it's given me so much in terms of meeting people like yourself and that connection and communication. And maybe that will transition. Are you currently on your Instagram fast? You've been on an Instagram fast right now?
I am on my Instagram fast right now. This is the second I've done in about 6 months or so. So I just end of 2020, when I found Clubhouse, I unintentionally was just like off of Instagram because I was just getting my connection fix from Clubhouse. And then, when was the last one? It must have been right before the holidays last year. So like October or so, same thing, just was like, you know what? I don't want to be on here. Like, I'm not currently seeking clients. I'm not coaching right now. There's no reason for me to be on here. Like, I just was catching myself in that, like, what the hell am I doing? My screen time on my phone is up to, 7, 8 hours a day, just total screen time and looking at Instagram. I'm like, why was I on Instagram for 2 hours? Like, what the hell was I doing? And just like checking myself. So that was the first one. And then February, I was like, I'm just going to do another one. I'm going to do a Black History Month. I'm going to do a fast so I don't have to see nothing I don't want to see. And, that was like some made up reason I made, but also maybe because it's the shortest month. So it's like easier to just not be on there for 28 days. But it is a trip how much you can get caught up and consumed in just nothing.
Yeah.
You're just like aimlessly on there. It's definitely can be a trap. And so now I'm trying to figure out how I can utilize the tool of social media if I do want to bring messages back, bring some kind of encouraging messages. I'm not ready to really start, taking clients again for nutrition or fitness coaching. Like, I need to pour back into myself, but I always will have a encouraging message. There's always something I want to just share, bring hope. And so now it's figuring out what days of the week am I going to go on there? When am I going to shoot content and just have it ready to post and give myself, hey, you got 30 minutes to be on here to post, communicate with people, and then get off. So now I'm really learning how to be mindful and actually come up with a plan on how to use Instagram and not have Instagram use me. That's the key.
You nailed it. That's exactly the conclusion I've come to. Because I mean, it is a great tool. Like, it's a great tool for communication. We connected through there. I'm sure you've connected with several people on there. I have too. And it's
Yeah.
but like you just said, I realized how much of your day and your time and your energy can get sucked into that thing. And it's like, you're right. It's pointless. Like, it's really like I could have read half of a book. Like, I could have wrote something. I could have worked on something in my own personal life. Instead, I chose to scroll, to just look at things or just get angry at things. And I never, and you being in nutrition, it's like, I realized too, like, mental diet is almost just as important sometimes as physical diet. Like, what I'm consuming, even though I think it's not affecting me, I'm bringing it into my mind space.
Mm-hmm.
Something I've been practicing definitely is not checking that in, like, first thing when you get up, because I've done that. Right when I get up, just open it up, and then I don't even have time to set my intention for the day.
Right. Yeah, you don't have time to just remember who you are. You know what I'm saying? You pick up that thing and you're looking at, oh, look what Sam's doing. Oh, look what he's doing. Oh, look what oh, wow, look what all these people are doing. Look. And it's like, wait, what the hell are you doing? Like, you haven't even put your feet on the ground yet. And this is just real. Most people are waking up and doing that. Most people, the average person is waking up to their phone. If not Instagram, they're waking up to their phone. Like, their phone is their alarm. That's how they wake up. And I'm a, personal development, all that kind of life coaching and motivational things. I've been into that for years. And any of those programs, if it's a life coach, if it's personal development, if it's one of those, be the top 1%, hustle, whatever those are, they're going to tell you, like, the first thing to do is switch out your morning routine and have your phone out of your room, get an old school alarm clock, use a watch, whatever you need to do. So that's not the first thing you do. And it is a hard habit to break. It really is. Like, it's a comfort of not having to check in with yourself. It gives you an excuse to not have to be like, okay, it's Monday. What am I doing today? Or even like, if you have a religious routine, a spiritual routine, thanking God, meditating, drinking some water, it just gives you this easy out, like, so that's something that even without going on Instagram specifically, the first couple of days, it was immediately something else. Okay, well, I said I wasn't going on Instagram, so I will go on Clubhouse, right? And it's like, no, I don't want to do anything first thing in the morning besides just like sit up, take a little breath, and give myself even just a couple of minutes. So like rebuilding that routine wasn't instant. It wasn't like I turned off Instagram and then was like, okay, now I, have this perfect routine. I'm still having to get back to creating something else to do in the morning. Like, people just, I don't know, especially now, it's getting through 2020 was a lot for all of us. We're all just trying to figure out how to like get back to some kind of balance of healthy living. And that was one way, just cutting that out was one way for me to at least start making my way back to something healthier, back to something better for my mind, better for my body, spirit, all of that.
No, I dig it. And I totally, and you know, what's crazy too, is like you said, even when you do get in a good routine, it's not like you just get there and you stay there. You have to keep doing it. It's constant, like self-development. I want to get into everything you do, but yeah, like I'm learning more and more that you can do and read all the books and do all the practices, but if you just start slacking a little bit, like it's not like you'll retain some of it, but it literally is a practice. Like you have to keep practicing these things and things like Instagram, social media and stuff. Like, yeah, like you said, it's like an easy out, just not to think about anything and just, you know, it just kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Staying on a routine. For me, I've learned that in my recovery program. So I am 3 years into, I say, this round of it, because I had my first drink at 15, like, and I just assumed everybody had their first drink at 15, right? Like you're in high school, isn't that when you start drinking? Apparently not. But
Congratulations, by the way.
thank you so much. And so there's been ups and downs. I've tried, had those like horrible hangovers in college. I'll never drink again. So I include that in like bouts of trying to quit drinking. So in this round of it, 3 years into this most solid, strongest round, I've learned like it is a daily practice. This is a lifestyle that I'm choosing. No one is forcing me to do this. No one is holding a gun to my head. I get to decide each day, like, this is how I'm going to live. And I have to nurture that with hanging out with other people who have the same lifestyle as me, communicating on a daily basis with other people who have, are in recovery or even curious about sobriety, and just doing everything that I can to keep myself excited about choosing this lifestyle and not, feeling down, feeling depressed, like, oh, why me? Why can't I? And like all these things, I have to really do everything it takes. And that's the same thing we have to do with fitness, nutrition, all of our personal goals. You have to have people around you, and you have to have practices in place that are going to keep pushing you towards staying on that path. Like if you are a bodybuilder, most of your friends are probably going to be athletes of some kind. They're going to be hanging out at the gym. It's not going to be very conducive to your lifestyle and your path if all of your friends don't exercise and they smoke weed all day and they just kind of hang out. You're like, yeah, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. Like, I don't know, you might have to switch your circle up, and have people around you and practices around you that are going to keep you on track with that. That's like any habit or any goal, any lifestyle that we want to experience. You have to have all of these steps in place to keep you, on that pathway. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to get into really everything you do here, but you just reminded me, I have a really good friend who has been through AA, and he told me, it's one of the most brilliant quotes I've ever heard. He said it came from AA. He goes, if you hang around a barbershop long enough, you're going to end up getting a haircut.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, ain't that the truth? Like, it's like really, like you really, and this goes with anything. This is something really too, like whether it's relationship setting, whether it's a social setting, a business, like what you got to really like think about what environment you're putting yourself in. And I've realized too, it's not about like you saying you could be the most disciplined person in the world.
Right.
That's fine. But then also sometimes you're still putting yourself in positions you don't need to be in. You're putting yourself in arenas that, yeah, maybe you're not doing anything, and maybe you're in the same realm of the things you don't want to be around. If that makes sense. Like and I'm just way more like thinking now of like who you're hanging with. What is my intentions with this situation going on right now? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? And it really, it's very subtle. It's very subtle. Like, it's really easy to get caught up.
Yeah, we have to be mindful about who is around us. But there's so many great one-liners, Sam, that you that come from AA. And I'm a person who I started, that's like the foundation of my journey.
Mhm.
And I've joined so many other support groups. And now we like not drinking is cool. Like not drinking is trendy. It's the cool thing to do. So now I have so many other ways to support that without having just this, I don't know, very outdated, very, very white male created
Right.
world of sobriety. Now
Yeah.
there's so many other ways, there's so many other voices being heard. And I think that just, it gives you more support. So you're not just hearing one solution. But even in that, like I have to be mindful about which pathways I connect with people on. Like, do we believe the same kind of things? Or if there's something that's different that we don't believe in, can we still support each other? Are you going to take me to, are we going to the barbershop and getting those haircuts? Or are we growing our hair out long? Like little things like that, you just have to be mindful. But yeah, there are so many little sayings that I appreciate that I learned in AA. Live and let live, one day at a time. Oh my gosh, what's a better one? You could take the alcohol from the alcoholic, but you'll still have the ick, which means like even though you remove the alcohol, now you have to start dealing with those feelings, the
Mm.
feelings that you were trying to cover up with it. So yeah, the barbershop one is a common one. There's so many. Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, and just on the I'll just speak for me personally, like, because I get asked all the time, like when I tell people I don't drink, they're just like, "What happened?
Yes.
Like there was a now, and like look, I lived in Las Vegas for 8 years. Every time like when I moved out to LA and stuff, it's like we're going down to Hollywood. I'm good. Like, I've been there. I've done that. Like go have fun. But like people, hey, what's the problem? Like, well, there really was no problem. But when I thought about it, when I first started like the quote unquote hardcore party phase, yeah, that was escaping reality. Like that was purely
Right.
escaping reality. It's like, well, did you not like your reality that much that you had to go there? And I'm not saying there wasn't fun times, because there was, but then the more like, I got more into health and nutrition and like what I really conscious of what I'm putting in my body. Like I remember the later phases of my drinking, I would have like a glass of wine at night or something like that. And I would wake up in the morning and my head would hurt and I'd be groggy and I'd be slow. And I'm just like, well, do I enjoy it that much? Is it worth
Right.
it? Like, is it worth? And then as soon as you leave it and you start going the other path, you realize like, oh, I don't need this at all. Like, I actually have more confidence than I've ever had in my life, because I
Right.
don't need this thing in a social setting anymore or anywhere else to like make me feel like I'm fitting in or to speak up to people. It's actually, and you're right about the ick part. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Like you'll go through
Yeah.
some uncomfortable things. So
Yeah.
one of those, it's an interesting conversation with people. Like, they just look at you kind of like, oh, what's wrong? Just like
Right.
nothing.
And
It's fine.
how do you, it's so interesting. So as someone who, it wasn't like you are on this recovery, like had to dive deep and had to have some extremely crazy situations or whatever the case may be, like, isn't it such a trip that people just feel like they can just say like, oh, well, what happened? Like if you see someone in a wheelchair and you're just meeting them, you don't say like, oh, what happened? How did you end up in it? Like, it's just not something that but with that, like, oh, I don't drink. Like it has to be like people feel like obligated or not obligated. They feel, I can't think of the word. Oh my gosh. They feel like they just have the right to know like this deep, like just know. But if you say, oh, I don't smoke cigarettes, no one asks why. If they're offering, do you want a cigarette? No, it's just like, okay, cool. You move on. Do you want a cheeseburger? Oh no, I'm vegan. Okay, cool. Like, you want some beer? Oh no, I don't drink. Oh, you don't drink? It's such a trip. It's such a trip.
It's
Yeah,
so
that's
true.
what
No,
it
that
is.
is
I
an
don't.
awesome point you just made. It's so true.
But yeah, it's so ingrained into us, and you're right. You can learn so much and see the world in such a different, you don't have to have some rock bottom situation. You can just realize that, I don't want to keep waking up with the hangover. I don't want to even be spending money. I want to be totally aware. I want to be healthy. I want to be alert. I don't want to just keep doing something just because everybody's doing it. Like there's
Yeah.
so many reasons to just look at your relationship with alcohol, no matter what your situation is. You're not going to lose anything if you take a look at your relationship with booze.
Yeah. And again, like I don't like, if someone wants to have a drink next to me, have a drink. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the same thing with food. Like that's another thing too. Like, oh, here, have this right here. I'm like, no, I'm okay. I ordered this. I'm fine. Oh, come on, man. I think a lot of time people, they want you to be with them. Like they feel like, I don't know if it's like they feel a certain way about doing it, so they want to bring you on board. So, but I'm like, no,
Right.
I encourage you to do what you want. I'm happy for you. But me personally, this is my body and my human experience. I'm perfectly fine here with my food and my water that I have. So
Right.
it's really, yeah, it's interesting what you said about, like, you can say all these different things. People won't bat an eye. But the second you're like, no, I don't drink, it's like, huh? What?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
interesting. So
It's a trip.
if we could, I guess, take me to the beginning.
To the
How did you
beginning.
educate? How did you have a master's degree? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, my master's is in exercise psychology. So it's kinesiology with the focus in exercise psychology. I grew up with parents who are active, fit, and healthy. My dad coached high school and like community football my whole life. Basically, he's been in the gym his whole life. My mom was like one of those step aerobics ladies, doing the aerobics videos at home with their little VHS tapes. So health and fitness has been a part of my life forever. And I ended up in kinesiology, interestingly enough, like out of a fear of my body. So as a kid who grew up like with, a bigger body than the average kid, and now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess it wasn't what I thought was bigger body. Like I just wasn't super thin, you know? But I've always had this kind of like relationship with my body where I'm still learning to this day as a new mom, trying to make peace with my body. So I figured if I major in kinesiology, I'll be on top of it. I'll have all the answers. I will always be fit. I will always be, so healthy. And it's so ironic that whole time I was abusing alcohol, like all the way through to my master's degree, all of those things. But I've always been a person where I love to help people. I love science. I am a science geek. I just love the whole process of having your question and analyzing and researching it. I love knowing how things work. So learning anatomy and physiology was just like heaven. I miss school so much. You can probably tell. I just miss being in the classroom. And I always wanted to have a fitness studio. That was like ultimate goal, have a fitness studio, be able to have my sisters working there. One of my sisters is a yoga instructor. The other sister is a dance instructor. So I had this whole kind of like, plan. I'm going to make it all happen. And definitely had that fitness studio, had that opportunity, was running a studio for a while, and then just realized like, I'm not a business person. I didn't think about that part. Okay, you can have the gym. It's not just about like teaching the classes. You have to, have this whole back end. You have to have administrative things. You have to have marketing. You have to have all that. And that became overwhelming, along with the fact that I was still in my substance abuse. I was trying to juggle coach, trainer, grad student, early grad student, like balance all these things and then have this like secret life. And those things collided. And the reality for me that like, I just want to give and teach. I need to find a way to do that without having a huge overhead and a huge responsibility of a studio. So that's kind of like where I am now, is figuring out like how I want to give back, how I want to use the science that I love, the nutrition certification that I love, and also how to be a full-time mom and also be a person in recovery and like mesh those things together. So coming from the background I have and my family, I have tons of support that way. My dad still is like Mr. Health and Fitness. My mom recently retired, and she is doing my sister's dance fitness classes, which is super cute because my sister's dance fitness classes are like very twerk related. So seeing my 65-year-old mom do that is super cute. My sister, who's a yoga instructor, is also really good on the admin side. So I have this like huge support system, and everyone's into health, fitness, mindfulness, personal development. And this, my whole family is just kind of like, that's what we're all about. So it started, high school, childhood. That's basically where my interest in health and fitness was sparked. And I ended up in that major, oddly enough, on this like personal battle with my own body, and came out on the other side realizing like, I want people to know that it's not about your size, and you probably are closer to health than you realize. There are a lot of things in the media that were sold that are a little bit confusing. There are so many people that are totally healthy as far as, looking at your medical records. Blood pressure is good, cholesterol is good, all those things are good. They're strong, they have good cardiorespiratory fitness, but you might look at their body and not know that, or not think that, because their body they're not ripped abs and super thin. So that's my passion, is really kind of switching over to bringing that to light, helping people to understand that like, you need to focus on your personal health and wellness. Can you run a mile, or can you power walk a mile? Can you go through your basic activities of daily living and do those things with, air still in your lungs and you're not winded? And are you happy? Like, do you feel good? And if you feel those things and you still want to do this extreme weight loss journey or nip and tuck here and there, then that's fine. I just want people to at least get in tune with themselves and what like basic health and fitness looks like before thinking they need to do these extreme changes, because that was me. I was always trying to lose weight. Always trying to lose weight. I'm finally in the place where my focus is actually getting stronger, just being a strong mom. You know what I'm saying? Like staying active every single day, staying strong, staying mobile, flexible. Oh my gosh, with a kid, like you got to be able to bend, pick this up, run over here. You have to be able to move. And I want to do those things and be proud of the body that I have without like beating myself up and constantly being on this roller coaster of trying to lose weight, trying to change, and that's easier said than done. Even as someone who is confident and does have love for myself, there are still moments that I have to catch myself in the mirror doing the like, if I could just, if I could just change, and that is something that I'm working on, but I'm open about it. Like I'm totally open about it, knowing like when I make peace with my body and I find that solution, I will share it with the world.
And that's one thing. There's a lot. Yeah, you said a lot of amazing things there. Yeah, I especially where we're at, right in Southern California, where it's all about image. Yeah,
Oh my
for the
gosh.
record, did you grow up in LA? Did you grow up in the?
I grew up in Apple Valley. I grew up in this little town off of the 15 freeway. So I came to LA every weekend with my parents to visit family, but no, like I'm like an hour and 15 north. You probably stopped in my town to use the bathroom on the way to Vegas. That's where
Oh yeah, I know Apple Valley. I've been there. I go there for work a lot. Yeah.
Yep, that area. So yeah, LA adjacent.
Yeah, it was pretty much this. I mean, pretty much. LA is just so everything's LA.
Yeah.
LA, Victorville, Vegas. It's all.
Yeah, but Southern California and that whole scene,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and you make a really good point. Yeah, just because someone looks aesthetically good they could be deathly ill,
Yeah.
and someone that doesn't
Yeah.
look like that could be way more healthier than them. But, with media,
Yeah.
especially social media and quote unquote celebrity influence, people are just
Influence. Yeah.
obsessed by what's not even reality first and foremost, because there's so much of it's done up, it's touched up. It's just not realistic.
Yeah.
That's what they try to train people. This is what healthy looks like. And this is what,
Yeah.
not this, do anything you can to look like this.
Yeah. And the images that we are more than likely or most often aiming towards, I'll say like in my almost 15 years and 20, if you include just high school and being around with my parents, that was the image that I thought was health, that I thought was fit, was six-pack abs, for a woman, I'll say like still flat, completely flat abs, super thin legs, super thin arms, not too much muscle for a woman. And then for a guy, 6-pack abs, you know, little cap shoulders, a little bit like it looked an athlete. When I learned in school whose body that really was and what it actually takes to get there, I realized like most people are not going to achieve that. The average person is not going to achieve that magazine cover model look. There are people who are born. I'll tell you, I have girlfriends that got high cholesterol, high blood pressure, but could walk a runway because they're super thin naturally. That's by nature. And then I have other and past clients who are the perfect bill of health when you look at their chart, but the average person would say like, oh yeah, she needs to lose weight. And people don't realize like how much work it takes to get that super lean model look. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you've ever tried to train, so for myself, the smallest I've ever been was like 13 to 15% body fat, which is that's like very low for a woman, not extremely, it's athletic low for a woman. I had to train 2 hours a day. I had an extreme diet. Like, I never missed a meal at the perfect time. I was measuring my food out. I was like you were saying earlier, like if I was out to eat with friends, I have brought my own food to a restaurant
I
before.
have
Like,
to.
I'll meet you guys there, but I'm bringing my own food. Like, it's extreme. And if people understood that it's not for everyone, and that's not even necessarily healthy. I started having a weird relationship with food when I was training like that. And it can be a really slippery slope when people step on stage or when people are at that magazine cover shoot. You have no idea if they've eaten, for 3 days before that. Like, it's not always the prettiest thing. But that's like everything, you know what I'm saying? Especially with social media. Like, I have people who I dearly love who I just am like, if everybody knew what was actually going on in your life, like you're posting these beautiful, this beautiful lifestyle, but it's not real. It's not real. It's like it's fictitious. You're only showing this corner of the room, and the other corner of the room, there's a disaster. But we get to do, like, was the world always like that? I know the saying, keeping up with the Joneses, like people were always trying to do what they saw people do, but was it ever as fake as it is now?
Mm.
How did people fake it in the 50s? I wonder like what that looked like. Now we have all of the filters and all of those things. Like, did people just stay? I wonder if it was like you're antisocial. And so people only saw ladies like going in their front yard waving with their little poodle skirt or whatever, like, and they wave and they smile, and then they go inside, and like on the inside of their house, it's a disaster. Now we kind of do that with what we choose to show on social media. So sorry, I jump a lot. I'm very
No, I was like, man, that's the promo clip right there. That's so true. And I think too, it's interesting. And I guess I've done it too myself. Like, I think for a lot of people, yeah, there's some people trying to impress people, quote unquote, but I think some people are just doing it for themselves too. I think it makes them feel better. Like, I've had people tell me that, like, oh, it makes me feel better by doing a post like this. And look, I'm not against people wanting to feel better, but it's a
right.
very interesting psychological break. You like really, I like your analogy. You're showing a corner of the room, but the rest, like a hurricane hit it,
Yeah. I have had to. I'm a Virgo, so I love order and perfection,
Uh,
like in my mind. So having a kid has been just blowing that whole thing to the wind. Like, okay, girl, get over it, because it's not going to be perfect. But I've had to accept that, like, well, this is what it looks like over there. So I'm either going to pick up all my son's toys and then like get my camera ready and then pick them up again really quick, because as soon as I turn around, he's going to throw something else. It doesn't matter. And then try to get a quick shot. But then I'm not showing reality. I'm not showing my reality. And you're right. Like, everyone has a right to do whatever they want. Like, Judging is something that I work on every single day, and I'm still not good at it, but I'm trying to be better. I just wish that more people would just know. Like, I think that if we could just get the message out, like, hey, more of us want to be real, so let's just all be real. Like, let's be real. If the shit is hitting the fan in your life, it's okay. I bet there's 15 other people who the same thing is happening. I'll take this all the way back to AA. That's when I realized that. When I realized that, I walked into a room with 30 people who had all experienced similar things to me. I was like, oh my God, everybody's dealing with it. Like, wow, Another time I realized that was in college. I thought I was the only, I used to do my work at home. My computer blew out one year. It's probably like my senior year in college. And I was like, shit, I have to go to the library to do this. And it was the last minute. It's probably due in an hour. And I'm like, I get to the library and I see like 10 or 15 other people from my class there. And I was like, oh, I thought I was the only one that waited till the last minute. Like, oh my gosh, y'all are waiting till the last minute too? Like, dude, we should have talked about this. We could have helped each other. We could have like worked on this together. But no, we're all, people don't tell the truth enough. So they think everybody is, everybody's doing better. But at the end of the day, everybody's actually in the same position. So yeah, we need to be more real. We need to be more raw. That's what I really try to bring to my social media is like, this is it. Like, my son threw his toys all over the place, but I still want to tell you this, like, positive message. So don't mind the toys over there. I'm going to tell you the message. Focus on the message. Don't look at the mess, basically. That's what we need to do more. And even like with our bodies, like, listen, focus on what you're doing with your body, like the positive things you're doing, the fact that you're staying active, the fact that you're doing your best to follow a nutrition program. Like, forget about the scale. Like, are you active? Are you walking every day? Are you eating, a few healthy meals a day? Are you taking your supplements if you need to? Think about what you are doing that's positive and that you are doing that's good versus constantly checking and judging back of the things you're not doing. If we can start living like that and thinking like that, everybody would be happier. And the person who posts not so real stuff because it makes them feel good, I think that's not genuine feel good. It's like a drug, it's like you feel good for that second, but then when you look, you put the camera down and you look over, you're like, oh, that mess is still over there. If you showed the mess, then you wouldn't feel like, you wouldn't feel better, like, because people saw the mess.
You actually just gave me an epiphany during that. There's so many things I want to pick out of that. What you said about everyone meeting up before the project's due, that analogy, that really that was like a thing that just clicked, because you're so right. Like, so many people are going through stuff, but we internalize it and we think, oh, I can't say anything, because whether it's pride, whether it's your ego, whether it's you don't want to look weak, or you don't have it together. But in reality, that's what we're all doing. And then it's like, oh man, you're right. We could have figured this out. Saved each other a lot of heartache and mental strain. But that's inspiring for you to say it like that, because you're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, and, we just gotta be real.
Show the mess. There you go. Show the mess. That might be your book title.
Yeah. Yes.
Show the mess.
Come look at my mess. Oh my gosh, what is his name? Kevin Hart says he had a comedy special, Laugh at My Pain. I think that's his, Laugh at My Pain, or something like that. It's kind of a similar thing, but and they say in a lot of personal development stuff, make your mess your message. Something along those lines, where it's a way to share your testimony. This is what I've been through. This is what my life looked like. This is how bad it was. But you're driving home the point of like hope or prosperity or success or whatever it is. Just be real.
Yeah.
Be real in the mess. Now you got me thinking about book titles. Shit, Sam, do I have to write a book?
Yeah, I would expect nothing less. I think that's one of the next steps for you, I'm sure. And Maybe that's why this podcast, maybe we were meant to connect on Instagram and have this podcast right now at this exact moment in time for you to get the inspiration to write that book, that bestseller. And I'm going to buy it and I'm going to read it. So it's going to be.
Okay, I've got the hands. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to get into motherhood in 1 second, but there's something you said too I want to touch on because I'm exactly like I have, and I've been vegan before, I've been raw vegan, I've been carnivore, I've been paleo, I've been blah, 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 blah. I won't go into the full details, but now I'm just like well-balanced food. Well, clean, whole foods. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
But I have, though, recently, you said relationship with food. I realized, hey, if I'm eating this way, this percentage of the time, when I go to a restaurant, when I'm with my significant other and we're at, ice cream or whatever it may be, I realize that I can have those things. Like I've usually in the past, I've been so like nothing, no. And if I go into a restaurant that's not going to have, here's my thing. Waiter or waitress is looking at you like you're insane. Timed eating,
so I brought my own meal.
So I relate to that all too well. But I realize like, gosh, it's just not a way to live. I'm just like, it's just so stressful. It's really stressful. And if you're going for bodybuilding competition, all that, I get it. Like I support what you want to do, but I wasn't trying to do any of those things. I just, was obsessed with it. But I'm realizing now, okay, I can have the burger and the fries once in a while and I don't have to feel bad about it anymore. And I don't. Like, I don't even try to get something like healthier. No, just give me whatever it is and eat it. And I don't, but I used to feel extremely guilty about that and think that I'm messing myself up or that I'm not being healthy. And I don't know. I've realized it's almost more healthy to let yourself have it once in a while than to deprive yourself of it. Do you have any perspective on that? Because I've seen some of your posts, like different foods. You're like, hey, people told me not to eat, I don't know if it was carbs or whatever it is. I'm going to eat carbs. Like I eat carbs. Like it's, like you get so stuck in these like camps of you can't eat this, you can't eat that,
Yeah. The camps gotta go. So my certification for nutrition is through a company called Precision Nutrition. And Precision Nutrition has, I think, level 1, level 2, and like a master nutrition. Their whole program is written by registered dietitians. And so obviously I'm biased because that's the one I have. But I will say, as someone who's been in the wellness, health, kinesiology world for over a decade, even in those years, I've had other nutrition certifications. This is the best one that I've experienced because they bring a component of coaching psychology into it. So it's more like behavior change with nutrition science. So that's where my background comes from in sharing my thoughts on it. We consider ourselves nutritional agnostics. So that's something that's freeing as a coach, where I have the freedom to say, listen, whatever you want to do, I'm going to help you learn the science behind it. I'm going to help you find out the benefits, for you, the cons for you, the reality of the sustainability for you. And I'm not going to discourage anyone from trying any of those camps unless I know off the bat that it's extremely unhealthy and it could cause you some real problems immediately. If you tell me, Kiola, I don't want to eat at all for 36 days, I'm going to just not eat. Okay, well, let's see. Here's what could happen. Now, maybe you, Sam, you might be able to actually pull that off because you have this background that you have an experience. Maybe that'll work for you. Somebody else who is, extremely overweight, extremely untrained, doesn't have the lifestyle, we wouldn't jump into that. So that's where I come in supporting all camps. There's another saying that I learned in Precision where we say, sometimes it's good to fall off the wagon so that you can get back on. Like sometimes that slip up, and that's even, and people will disagree with me, very unpopular opinion, that's even true in recovery. Like sometimes you need to see how far you've come. You need to feel like, oh, okay, no, actually, I'm better off just staying on this path here. Let me just get right back on the horse and go that direction. So when it comes to, like you said, that burger and fries, when you've been eating, and it's not that a burger and fries is unhealthy, but when you have been sticking to your commitments, let's just say that if you committed to eating 3 servings of big leafy greens and 2 fruits and vegetables and, 2 servings of fish a day, and then you're like, you know what, I'm getting in and out, I'm putting ketchup on everything and ranch, I'm doing it. doing that is exactly what you said. You're going to feel more freedom, and you will not have these constant cravings for the thing when you give yourself the freedom to enjoy it at a time. And maybe it doesn't have to be every Friday at this time. Maybe it's, you know what, when I feel like having it, I have it. And I do that 2 times a month. I know for sure that you will be able to stick to your long-term commitments with your health and with your nutrition when you give yourself that freedom, versus being so strict and so hardcore into your camp that you're in, that you're not even willing to budge. That's only going to last so long. I mean, we need carbs. We do need carbs. Carbs are like the number one form of energy for us. So I don't know who, what, when, where, and why carbs became the worst thing ever. It's media, it's diet culture. And that's another thing I will say. I don't want people to be afraid of the word diet. Like, can we stop being afraid of the word? I understand we are wanting to shift away from the culture, the things that come with the word that have been attached to diet over the years, but your diet is what you eat on a regular and consistent basis. So you can change your diet, you can modify your diet, you can tune up your diet, and those can be positive things. So yeah, I have the whole diet, like anti-diet, I was just like, come on, that's so confusing. And there's registered dietitians that are doing that, and it's, anti-diet dietitians. But even that is like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what? You're a dietitian, but we're afraid of the word diet. So anyways, you need to pick something that's realistic, long-term, sustainable for you. That just what you said, whole foods, real foods. There's room for dessert. There's room for a burger. If you want it to be a vegan burger, whatever, but there's room for fun. There's room for going to the fair. There's room for going to the movies and having popcorn. There's room for a little licorice or whatever. Like, there's room for those things. Don't be so tied and hell bent on one thing that you can't ever. It's not even cheat. I don't even say cheat. When I do work with clients, we don't even use the word cheat. Because you don't need to cheat. It's not a test. Like, it's not, if it's a relationship, you don't want to cheat in that relationship. You want to treat yourself, or you just want to have freedom. Let's just take out treat, just freedom, have food freedom, and you will be able to stay on that program for forever. So that's my not short answer.
No, I love it. And you're exactly right about the quote unquote falling off the wagon makes you realize, like, oh, I like being back on the wagon, like, because you eat those meals or whatever, and but then, like, you realize, especially when you've been eating cleaner, how it digests, and you're like, oh yeah, this is why I don't eat this all the time. And then
Yeah.
I won't touch it for a long time, and I'm gonna go right back to what I was doing. So yeah, no, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
About all that.
Yeah. You need freedom in your food. And when you get freedom in your food relationship, and you find something you can stick to, it'll be enjoyable. You will have less of those. You'll have less time off the wagon than on the wagon.
And speaking of carbs, like, I know for me, carbs before the weight room is a must. Like, I've done it without, no bueno. Like, it's just not the same energy. And it's what carbs you pick too, right? Like sweet potatoes. Like, I take sweet potatoes,
Yeah.
eat those, and those are great carbs. Like, those are great. There's probably tons of others too, but like, I have noticed just by self-experiment for myself personally, like, wow, I don't have as much energy in the tank when I don't eat carbs.
Yeah. No, it's quick lesson. The first form of energy that your body can use to, like, immediately get into the blood, get into the muscle, is carbohydrates, right? So if you are doing a extremely low or no carb diet, it is going to be very hard to get through a high intensity or like a weightlifting, workout. I would encourage people this is a free link. You can go on to Precision Nutrition Macro Calculator. So if you Google Precision Nutrition Macro Calculator, it's free. You can get numbers specific to you, to your activity level, to your your workout level, to if you want to be vegan, Mediterranean diet, eat everything, just to have a reminder and a visual for yourself of what you need. and you will be blown away. Most people will be blown away, even if you put in, you wanted to lose weight, the amount of carbohydrates that you can actually have and still lose weight based on you, your activity level, and your goals. And once you understand that, like, you can't argue the science. So if you want to have a happy mood, if you want to have good workouts, if you are trying to stay on the program, I would suggest that you throw some carbs in there, find out your real macros, use that free calculator, and have a better idea of realistically what you need and how to have a healthy, happy nutrition program you can maintain for the long run and lose the weight or build the muscle or whatever the case is. But I'm gonna need you to eat some carbs. That's all I'm saying.
Kiola gave us permission. You can eat the carbs.
You can eat the carbs, please, please.
Awesome. Well, and I want to talk to you about motherhood.
Okay.
Your mother, congratulations. How old is your child now?
Ezekiel is 16 today. Actually, he's 16 months. So yeah.
Wow. I
It
remember you
goes
posting.
really fast.
Wow, time flies.
It is. People tell you like, oh, you're gonna have a kid. You know, it's gonna go so fast, and your life's gonna change. And like, you're like, oh yeah, okay, but whew, it's not. There's nothing like it. There's nothing in the world like it. I just told his dad, like, I was like, oh my, we're in his nursery, and I'm like looking at little baby pictures above his changing table, and I just was like, this seems like it was 100 years ago. Like, it feels like this was like so long ago, but you are just watching this like human, little human, like start doing all these things. It's trippy, yo. Like, there's no drug like parenthood, I'll tell you that. That is
told me that you can't fully experience life until you have children and experience it through them. They said you're limited with just yourself. Is there any truth to that? Is there any perspective to that? I'd never heard it before. I was like, whoa, I never even thought of it like that.
You can't experience life until, well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think it depends, because I think there are people who will never have children who have freaking amazing lives, and maybe they're traveling the world and doing all these amazing things that I might never do. It is very humbling. I will say that. Like, it is very humbling in the personal daily checks of myself of like, Kiola, like, are you getting frustrated? He's one. He doesn't know. Like, he doesn't know. He's going to try to open this, open that, open every cabinet, open every door. I was like, I'm not going to get baby gates. I don't want to cage my child in. Now it's like, get the freaking gates, get the gates, lock everything. Like, what was I thinking? Like, I'm learning so much about myself and checking myself, but I don't know. I feel like that is probably true for some people, but not for everyone, because I would not suggest anyone have kids. I mean, like, I love my son, but if you are listening to this and you want kids and you're sure that you want kids, you're like, I want kids, that's my dream. Yay, I can't wait to have kids. I will tell you, get all your traveling in. Not that you can't travel with a kid, but get all your traveling in. Get all your boo time in. I'm talking about make out with your boo, have sex, hold hands, sleep together. Like, I'm like nap together. Like, everything you could ever want to do. Just sit and stare at each other and be quiet for a while. What else? Save up all your money and just check off all those adventures that you want to have, then have a kid. Because you have to incorporate this whole other person into every single thing that you do. Like, we have tickets to a concert on Friday, so I got to plan a babysitter. I got to go down the list of luckily I'm blessed to have all my sisters, my mom. So that's very helpful. But what if they're not all available? We have plans to go do something, then he gets sick. Okay, that cancels all those plans. We're going to travel across country to go to Passover. Okay, we got to get this. It's just, it incorporates a whole nother level to your life that you wouldn't have before. Now, listen, if you have it made, or you can have a nanny and a personal chef and a maid, then it's going to be easier to have kids. But average middle class American person, people are working. It's gonna change your life. It's gonna rock your world in a beautiful, crazy way. So yeah, that's
Wow.
wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Are
Well,
you are you
it's interesting to
reevaluating?
talk, huh?
Are you reevaluating everything now?
Well, it's funny when I talk to my because I'm at the age where when I'm about to turn 35. When I turned 30, it was all wedding bells everywhere. Like everyone was getting married, like left and right. Then everyone was buying houses, but now kids. And I talk to a lot of my buddies who have had them, and it's beautiful. They love it, but they tell me, and I'll ask you that first couple months, you don't sleep. They're like, you will not sleep. It can be intense.
Yeah. The first couple months, and again, I'm grateful to my mom who was with me for the first 2 weeks. Like, she just stayed at my house for the first 2 weeks. But we didn't start sleeping until maybe, like 5, 6 months ago. And I mean, like, sleeping through the night. So once he was around 9, a little before a year, started getting a little bit better. And people do different things. Some people start sleep training when their kid's 3 months old and they let them cry it out. And I personally couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't let him cry for too long. So I was like, oh, well, he's great. Like, this is what it is. I'm going to just wake up and feed him, and this is what it is. But my sleep is still not the same. I have tried to start waking up before he wakes up so that I don't have to be awoken to like a cry, because that's like, and that's on some other level of, I don't know, consciousness, where I feel like I'm being born every day, because I'm like, oh, I hear a little whimper, a little cry, and I'm like, okay, I'm awake, And even though I tell myself, like, he's crying because he can't say, hey, mom. He's only 16 months old. He doesn't know how to be like, yo, mom, I'm awake, And I had to tell myself every time, if he cries or if he whines, he's not like sad only. He just doesn't have any other way of communicating. So that was something I had to like work through in my mind. But yeah, the sleep, that's why I said, get all your sleep in. I mean, people told me that while I was pregnant, and I was like, whatever, it's not going to be that much different. No, it's different. It is different. Even when he's with my mom, like, now that he's a little bit older, he stayed like the night with my mom. I still haven't slept where I was like, I'm going to sleep until 11 o'clock. Like I was in college or something. Like, no, 8:30, I'm just wide awake. And yeah, it changes. It changes.
And I'm glad you said that, because no, I wasn't reevaluating per se, but you solidified at least my mentality with it, because I do want kids, I do want a family. I realized that, and probably within the next couple of years. And I realized too, though, that's something I want to be ready for. Like, I want to prepare for that. Like, I don't want the child to be born in where the parents are in a desperate situation. You know what I mean? Like, I want to
exactly.
get our stuff together.
Yep.
And then be ready for that. So
yes.
you kind of you put some reality into me of like, hey, it's great, but this changes things for sure.
Yeah, have all of your things, and you can be ready. You can be ready financially, and you can be ready, meaning like, you have your nursery set up, like you have the space, in your life. You have a car that you can like, you're not driving a 2-seater car. Like, you need to have those kind of things. The part that I don't think, at least any book, because I read a lot of books through my pregnancy, any person in your life can prepare you for, is just this, for you personally, how it shifts your life. Like, I was a very independent person. I liked to, get up, have my routine, work out when I want to work out, do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. And that part shifts and changes. So nothing can really prepare you for that part. because it's different for each person. You know, some people might have the freedom. Like, I'm super grateful and blessed that I get to stay home with my son. You know, that is, I know that's a privilege. I know everyone doesn't have that privilege to be able to stay at home, especially for the whole first year. Even though that is a privilege and I'm grateful for it, it is exhausting. It is very exhausting. And so, like, it's a freedom to be able to do that, but it's also such a trade-off to my own freedom and my own independence. And the other thing that shifts, like, as a woman, is now I have two people who need my attention. So my son wants my attention and needs my attention. Like, I'm not saying my man doesn't need my attention, but he can go the day without it. Like, my son can't go the day without my attention. So it's like learning this whole new balance. It's not even rediscovering. I'm just learning who I am now, like who my role is as a woman, as a mother, as a partner, and finding that balance. It's challenging. And sometimes there's days where I'm like, what in the world? Like, oh my gosh, this is so much. But then I kind of turn a corner and I'm like, okay, I got this. Like, dude, I'm a mom. Like, I can do anything. So it's this kind of like roller coaster. And I would be curious to hear like more dads' point of views. Like, how does it change? How does your life change for, you know, as a father, as a man? What shifts and changes, and where, you know, where do you as men, you have to ask dads this question, like, what's the biggest change that happened for men? For me, I feel like my sex drive completely. I was like, wah. Which, sorry, I'm working on that. It's just, you just be tired, you know, like tired. And it's like two people want you and you got to decide, and the baby usually wins.
You may have picked the book of the episode, actually. Here it is.
Oh, I like this.
The Female Brain.
Oh,
and they talk exactly about what you're talking about. I believe it's in this book. They said the moment a woman has a child, just the brain chemistry and everything immediately goes to that child. And it's not that they don't love the significant other, but it's like there's a shift. Like, your body's saying, like, all right, this is number one priority now. Like, you are in charge of a human being. So is that accurate? I mean,
and even if you don't, not that I didn't want it to, all the ideas of what you think you're going to be and how you think you're going to be, at least for me, just throw those out the window. Like, because you just don't know how your pregnancy is going to be. You don't know how your labor is going to be. You don't know how your delivery is going to be. Those are some major things that you don't have control of, to some extent. And then you don't know exactly how you're going to react. Like, I'm the second oldest of 5. So I have changed diapers since I was 8 years old. I've had lots of little cousins. I've known how to do all those things. That's like second nature to me. But the part that I feel is like not second nature to me is the, how do I say it? Like, I'm like a tough lover. Because I'm a coach, I'm like, okay, come on, let's do this. Like, all right, let's go, kid. Like, and I'm not like, oh, little baby, oh my God. Like, when he was a little tiny baby, a little bit, but I don't know if it's all the Virgo in me that it's like a straight face nurture. Like, I got you. I'm going to take care of you, little baby. But, you know, I might not always be like cooing and sweet in that way, but I'm going to have everything taken care of. Like, he is going to always be fed. He is going to always be laughing. He's going to always be learning. My style is just different. And I think, yes, your brain switches over, but what that looks like for each woman and each parent is going to be different. And it'll evolve. Because I have, like, today, for instance, I just feel like I was just mom of the year. Like, we went out and visited my grandmother, so he saw his great grandmother. We had a little picnic. We went on an hour-long walk. He got into some new toys today. Like, I was full of energy. I was super patient. I was with him for 13 hours. So, because my husband works in production. So, like, those are long days when you're on set. And, some days are awesome. And other days I have to call my mom and be like, can you come down tomorrow? Because I have about 3 hours left in me. And then I just don't know what I'm going to have to give. And, even that is not everybody has that, but you're going to learn a lot about yourself. I'm looking forward to seeing you as a parent. It'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Did you, I really appreciate you sharing all this. Did you like feel like a calling for it? Did you, like, before it all happened with you and your significant, was it like a feeling that you had, like, oh, the next step is coming? Like a
Okay.
premonition almost.
Yeah.
Your old life,
Interesting.
you see it and it's kind of fading away and you see this new life presenting. Was there anything like that? I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I just knew that he was the person that I would actually give it a shot and have kids. Like, I was engaged before. Luckily, thank God that didn't work out. Some of the things that don't work out in your life, you might at the time be like, why is this not working? But then you realize, like, oh my God, thank God that didn't work out. Like, that would have been horrible. I used to say, I don't want kids. I don't want kids. Like, I'm cool. I'm gonna just do my own thing forever. Then I met Nathaniel and I was like, oh my God, I will have all of your kids. Like, it was just like a security that I felt. Like, I felt safe enough to know that I can trust this person. You got my back. Like, my emotions are safe with you. I feel physically safe with you. And we talked about it. We joked about it. We kind of were like, well, let's just let God decide, like, well, like, and God was like, okay, girl, here you go. You're going to let me decide. Okay, we're ready. So, like, we knew this is how you make a baby, and let's try. I don't know. Like, I didn't know that it was going to happen so fast. But I also knew, like, yeah, like, this is my person. Like, you are my person. I am so happy that this didn't happen with anyone else and that it is, he and I. And yeah, I don't know if it was in my gut. I guess my gut just said, like, this is your baby daddy, girl. So get it in, and we are, this is like, he's the love of my life. And this is it.
Wow.
This is my happy ending that I didn't necessarily see 5-6 years ago. Like, and here it is now, taken care of. Our son is happy. He's an amazing partner. I know one thing I will tell you, Sam, if you're going to have kids, you just have to promise that you're going to be not 50-50, 100-100. It needs to be 100% you and 100% her. And you guys both do your parts 100%, because 50-50, that's not enough. Like, you need to be able to commit everything that you, like, physically can, and everything that she physically can. Like, right now, he's giving me the time to be able to do something like this, which is like our, work from our hearts. We're doing this from our hearts. You have a desire to share messages. I have a desire to, do the same thing. And he's like, okay, I'll put him to sleep. I'll make sure he has a bath. And this is after he was at work for 13 hours, like, not even the drive there, the drive back. So closer to like 15 hours.
Wow.
But he's doing that because, like, he's supporting what I want to do. So it has to be, you have to be able to give, that much. I give long answers. Sorry.
No, it's good. This is great for a podcast. Lots of ear candy, and that's really dope. And you know what? I'm really happy for you. I know we knew each other through Instagram. Now we're having this conversation right now, but it's just like, well, I'm just really happy for you. And, I've seen some photos of you guys have a beautiful family, and I'm just
Thank you.
happy. I wish you guys nothing but the best. It's inspiring. It's inspiring and refreshing to hear you share that story and the perspective.
Thank you.
And I want to respect your time because I know gone over an hour here, but I always give people the last word before I do that, though. If people want to reach out to you and get in contact with you online, I don't know if there's anywhere in particular they should go. Where should they go?
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to reach out to me, I'm coming back to Instagram tomorrow. So you can DM me on Instagram at Kiola Raines, KIOLARAINES. If you happen to be on Clubhouse, I love Clubhouse. It's the same handle. All my handles are the same, at Kiola Raines. Shoot me a DM, send me a message on Clubhouse. What do they call it? The back channel. And those are my best two ways to get in touch. I love questions regarding nutrition, fitness, wellness. I also love people to reach out if you're, sober curious, or if you're on your recovery journey. I'm here to support and encourage that as well. So thank you so much for coming on, for letting me come on and share.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on it. I think you actually got my wheels turning about Clubhouse. I think that's something I may need to look into.
Oh, yeah, Sam, get on the Clubhouse. It's basically like live podcasting, right? So you could actually have that app open and be on here recording at the same time. You can also record stuff on there as well. You can save it on your page. But the other side to it is you can listen in on really interesting, thought-provoking things. You can also listen in onto some real ghetto ratchet things too. So depending if you want to hear people, being loud and crazy, that's one thing. There's meditation rooms on there. Yeah, check it out. If you like conversation and you like to, start conversations and or listen in on conversations, it's a cool app.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I always give the guests the last word. It can be something as deep or as shallow as you want. It can be a thought you've been having, a book you've been reading, an idea you have. It can be absolutely anything that you want to leave us on. What would you leave us on?
Last word. I will tell you something that I've been working on recently, which is being less judgmental. And one of the ways that I am doing that is by judging myself less. So if I'm able to get through the day and check myself when I am holding myself to some unrealistic standard or some standard that I've made up, it's causing me anxiety or stress, if I'm able to check in and do that less often, then I will be able to also be less judgmental to others. Check out a really good book, Judgment Detox by Gabrielle Bernstein. That has helped me with that. And then also it's called Spiritual Growth by Sanaya Roman. Those two books really are helping me a lot with being less judgy, because nobody likes a judgy bitch.
Oh, I'm gonna have to add those to my Amazon list.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Kiola, thank you. So hang around for 1 second when I hit the recording, or I stop the recording. But thank you so much for doing this. It's awesome to talk to you. It's really cool when you meet someone on social media and then you actually have a conversation. Like, oh, they're like just as cool as I thought they would be.
You too.
Yeah, and again, blessings to you, your significant other, your child, your whole family. I'm excited to follow the journey on the gram and all your endeavors. And I'll be buying that book, Show Your Mess, or whatever the final title is.
Yes. Welcome to my mess.
Welcome to my best. All right, Kiola, well, thank you so much. Have a great night. We'll talk soon.